Hello guys, welcome to another exciting video from Futurism. In this video today, we will tell you everything we know so far about what Russia did to beat SpaceX, its rival. And believe us, if you will, this will change everything. But before we do, make sure to stay tuned with us until the end. This is gonna get exciting. That said, let's dive into the details. Just when people have already nursed the thought of how space companies will travel to space and successfully land on Mars to explore the Martian planet, then boom, another thing pops up. It's now observed that space companies don't want to explore the moon and want to stick to Mars only for now. Now, Russia, being one of the runners in the space race, has come close to it to develop a new nuclear spaceship that will land on Jupiter. It takes at least 5 to 7 months to travel from Earth to Mars, and by the time you land on Mars, your muscle must have been beaten by heavy fatigue due to weightlessness experienced during the journey. So, how many months will it take Russia astronauts to travel from Earth to Jupiter with the nuclear spaceflight? The first spacecraft to visit Jupiter orbit was Pioneer 10 in 1973, followed a year later by Pioneer 11. These probes took the first close-up pictures of the planet and discovered its magnetosphere and mostly fluid interior. Jupiter is the fifth planet from the Sun and has been explored by a robotic spacecraft, which is Pioneer 10, that arrived in 1973, and 8 more robotic spacecraft have been exploring since, as of 2016. All of these missions were undertaken by NASA, and all but 2 were flybys, taking detailed observations and capturing pictures without landing or entering orbit. These probes make Jupiter the most visited planet of the solar system. The second ever craft to enter Jupiter's orbit was Juno, which arrived on the 5th of July 2016. On a normal day, sending a craft to Jupiter is difficult because of the planet's harsh radiation environment and large fuel requirements. The Voyager 1 and 2 probes visited the planet in 1979, studying its moons and ring system. They discovered volcanic activity and the presence of water ice on Europa. Cassini and New Horizons are both missions to study Jupiter. Cassini approached the planet in 2000 and took detailed images of its atmosphere, while New Horizons passed by in 2007 and made improved measurements of its satellite parameters. Voyager 2 is one of the most technologically advanced space probes ever built. It was launched in 1977 and went on an 11-year journey to explore the outer solar system. It visited Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and was even made a norm for satellite exploration. July 2016 was a big month for the Juno mission. After 5 years of sending back data and images from its orbit, at last, the spacecraft completed its orbital insertion maneuver and is now in orbit around Jupiter with its science program ongoing. And in this century, Russia has come into play. They are planning to send a nuclear-powered spacecraft to the moon, then Venus, then Jupiter. The spacecraft will be able to carry up to 3 people and will be equipped with a robotic arm for grabbing lunar surface samples. Russia's space agency Roscosmos has announced that its Space Tug, a spacecraft that transports astronauts or equipment from one orbit to another, is scheduled to launch on an interplanetary mission in 2030. Zeus is a spacecraft energy module which is designed to generate enough power to power heavy cargo through deep space. Essentially, it's a mobile nuclear power plant. In the future, spacecraft will be able to utilize solar power and gravity to accelerate, thanks to a new technology that is currently being researched. Several countries have already shown interest in this new technology, and it's expected to shorten space trips. But that means very soon, it could take more than the acclaimed 5 months for astronauts to conduct a round-trip visit to Mars. NASA estimates that a nuclear-powered spacecraft could shave a year off that timeline. It is no surprise that the US plans to bring nuclear power to the moon. Most countries today fear the devastating effects of nuclear weapons, and so a nuclear-powered moon seems like an attractive alternative. In 1965, NASA sent their first reactor into space for testing purposes. The Mars Curiosity and Perseverance rovers are both nuclear-powered, and they don't use a reactor. Instead, they use radioisotope thermoelectric generators as their power source. Russia wants to launch a 500 kilowatt nuclear reactor into space that would propel itself from planet to planet for refueling purposes. State news agency Sputnik says that this module, called Zeus, would advance Russia's efforts in all their space missions. The mission plan calls for the spacecraft to approach the moon first, then head towards Venus, where it can use the planet's gravity to adjust its trajectory and head towards its final destination of Jupiter. That would help conserve propellant. According to Alexander Bloshenko, the executive director for Roscosmos's long-term programs and science, the entire mission would last for 50 months, which is about 4 years. The Roscosmos and Russian Academy of Sciences are still working to determine the trajectory and weight limits of the flight. The new space station will be a precursor to a new frontier of Russian spaceflight, as reported by Sputnik. The design will use nuclear-powered technology for propulsion, which could potentially keep the station in orbit indefinitely. While most spacecraft get their energy from the sun, batteries, or unstable atoms called radioisotopes, a new technology is beginning to emerge: space-based solar panels. The Juno spacecraft, for instance, uses solar panels to generate electricity. Solar power can also be used to charge batteries in a spacecraft, but the energy source becomes less potent as a spacecraft gets further from the sun. In the past, lithium batteries have been used to power short missions on their own. For example, the Huygens probe landed on Titan, which, with help from its own battery in 2005. NASA's twin Voyager spacecraft use radioisotopes, sometimes called nuclear batteries, to survive the harsh environments of the outer solar system and interstellar space. But that's not the same as bringing a nuclear reactor on board. Nuclear reactors offer several advantages over solar panels. They can survive in cold, dark regions of the solar system without requiring sunlight. They're also reliable for long periods of time, and the Zeus reactor is designed to last 10 to 12 years. Nuclear power has its challenges, but it's the safest and most reliable energy source in the world. Safety is a top priority for nuclear reactors around the world. The US prohibits highly enriched uranium from being used to propel objects into space, so that humans on Earth won't be prone to cancer diseases. In just 2 decades, Russian engineers have made significant progress on the Zeus module, which has been designed to be sent to orbit. Engineers are in the process of manufacturing and testing a prototype of the new spacecraft. Roscosmos has also signed a contract with Arsenal, a design company based in St. Petersburg, which will be responsible for the preliminary design. The Zeus module is said to be the future of space travel, capable of traveling from one planet to another with only a 500 kilowatt reactor. With a mission of nuclear space flight to approach the moon, Venus, before finally changing its direction to Jupiter, which is its final destination. Following these paths, the spacecraft will be able to conserve fuel and not have to rely on it as much. And according to space researchers, with the implementation of this strategy, Roscosmos estimates the mission would be completed in 2 years and 3 months, instead of a 4-year plus. Do you think Roscosmos will someday compete with SpaceX to launch powerful rockets into space? Please do well to share your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, thanks for watching the video. If you've enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel Futurism for more videos just like this. See you in the next one.